focus of this video is both an introduction for people who have not been foam rolling but are interested in exploring how that can help their body move better throughout the day and with less pain. But also for some of my clients who I haven't been working with one-on-one and might need a little refresher on how to use their foam rollers. So to start, this foam roller here I have is by Trigger Point. This is the foam roller that I prefer. It's my favorite one. I actually like it in the larger size, but this little one I like because I always keep it handy. I don't have to tuck it underneath a bed or, you know, it's visible. I don't have to hide it. But you might prefer a longer size. All right, so they really only come in these two sizes. Foam rollers come in all different densities, and some of them are even more nubby than this, kind of painful. So you might want to try a couple before you find one that you might need to try a couple before you find one you really like. So my focus today is to go through a few areas of the body that need work on a daily basis for most people. Foam rolling, when can it be done? It can be done before exercise, after exercise. I really recommend it before exercise in particular, but also it's a good wake up segment to put into your day if you don't have time for exercise, but you have 10 minutes or so to wake up your body and help loosen up some of those tight muscles so that you're moving throughout the day functionally and moving a little bit better. The idea is to find areas where you know where you're going to feel tension and to release the tension in those areas. So it's like self-massage in many ways. It can be painful. It can be really painful, and I'll work through you on how to deal with that pain and what to do when you hit those spots. So like I said, I'm going through a bunch of different areas of the body that I feel most people are very tight in. It has a lot to do with their daily activities more than anything. It doesn't have to do with working out so much as being at a desk a lot, or a lot of times runners are going to have really tight calves, so we'll start with that one. Almost everybody has tight calves, and I like to start from the bottom up. So there are different muscles in the calf. Some people may find that this larger part of their calf is where they're going to feel more the tightness, or there are more underlying muscles closer to the bone, which is where you may feel more of your tension. So we're going to cover all bases. The basic is just to roll slowly back and forth until you find an area that's tight. Now for me, I need to apply more pressure in order to find those tight spots. So I cross one leg on top of the other and I lift my butt up off the ground. When I do so, I like to make fists with my hands and make sure my shoulders are dropped. And then I'm going to roll until I find a tight spot. I'm going to roll internally a little bit and externally a little bit. And right there I found one. And it feels to me like at a pain or discomfort level of 1 to 10, it's like a 6. So I'm going to sit here until it reduces by half, until it reduces to like a 3. Now you could find yourself all the way up to like an 8. And if that's just too uncomfortable for you, bring your butt back down to the ground, but keep applying pressure until you feel a release of at least 50% from where you started. And I'm rolling to the outside and I find another little knot. And I'm going to sit there for a little while until that dissipates. So with the rolling of the calves, you have anywhere from your ankle to not quite behind your knee to work with on either the outside, right back here, or a little bit on the inside. You'll do one side and then you'll switch to the other side. From there, we're going to go to hamstrings. Again, the hamstrings are not one muscle, they're complex. Generally speaking, it's sitting that makes hamstrings tight. So anybody who's hit 6 hours a day or more is likely to have tight hamstrings. So again, for myself, I'm going to start up almost the hamstring complex runs from right behind your knees all the way in and inserts into the glute area. So I'm going to start almost. I am sitting on it, but almost on my butt, like that little butt crease, right? So I'm going to start up there, and I'm going to roll myself backwards. Again, I'm going to shift my weight a little to the side, a little center. center, there's a place of discomfort. Apply a little more pressure. Keep the chest nice and tall and breathe. Make sure you breathe when you find those spots that are uncomfortable. Okay, that released, so I'm going to roll a little bit further down. And you may find that because the hamstrings are really large, or honestly, if there's a good layer of fat, you may not really hit the really intense spots, but you might find, oh, it feels nice. It's a nice little massage. You're still benefiting from it, even if it feels more like massage than pain, that's okay. So just keep working it. Small movements back and forth. And again, you don't want to roll on a joint, so you don't want to come all the way down and place your knee on it and put pressure on top. Now you're not rolling on a muscle, you're working on ligaments and tendons, and that's not going to do you any good. All right, we're going to move up the body into the lats. So I can't quite wrap my arm around my body, but if you take your thumb underneath your armpit and then wrap your fingers around this meaty part where my fingers are, that's what we're focusing on. So to get there, I'm going to lay on your side and put your foam roller on an angle. So I can already feel it there. It's a little bit ribby, but not terrible. And I've got my lower leg against the ground and my top leg in front of me to help me roll back and forth. I'm lifting my hips off the ground. You may not need to. You may be able to just keep your weight down here and be able to apply enough pressure and roll forward. And it looks like the foam roller is on my armpit, but it's not. It's really on my back. So I'm keeping my elbows nice and wide. You can also go hands across the chest and move your arms in different areas. You might find a crevice that needs a little work. For me, this one's more like massage, but some people have hot spots here also. So those are your lats. You're going to do both sides. Then we're going to work into the mid-back area. Right, so for women, it's sort of where your bra hits you in the back. So from there, you bring your hips up off the ground and roll towards the neck, but not onto the neck. And then back down. Again, you can go hands across the chest and try one arm up and put a little more weight on that side. Other arm up. And right there. Focus on keeping my neck in a neutral position. I'm not pulling on my head. I'm not letting my head fall back. So you're always thinking about your form while you're doing your rollouts. And it can feel like work, especially in the beginning. If you're not used to lifting your body up off the ground and doing body weight workouts, it can feel like work, and that's okay.
Okay, covering more of the upper body, it does sometimes require getting off the ground. I find the foam roller to work the area of the chest and back of the shoulders. Foam roller doesn't get there. It doesn't have the surface is too large. So for those areas, I like to use a lacrosse ball, which is pretty hard. I really wouldn't substitute another ball. I really like the lacrosse balls. They cost maybe $5. You can get them on Amazon. A lot of yoga studios sell them. Sporting goods stores sell them. Okay. So for the chest, why does the chest get tight? Because you tend to sit around our desks like this, and these muscles get tight. Also, any shoulder work that we're doing or chest work that we're doing in the gym will heighten the tightness in the chest area. So the chest fibers start, at the sternum, and they come all the way across, and they pretty much attach in part of the rib cage area right in here. So it can go up as high as into the very top of the shoulder. So if you're like, I feel like I'm rolling out my shoulder, it's okay. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're rolling out your shoulder. If you feel tension in that area, go for it. Usually it's the origin or the insertion areas where you're gonna feel the most release from working with the ball. So just rolling the larger part of the tissue right in here isn't generally gonna do that much. So if you get really close to the shoulder, armpit area, I think you're gonna get the most benefit out of this. I like to find an edge where I can wrap my body around so that I can lean into it and then turn my head in the opposite direction. And little circles. And if I find a tight spot, it's not a very, you're not covering a very large area, but if you find a tight spot, again, you just sit on it. So you're gonna go for one side, place the ball where you want it, lean up against the wall, and go with the other side. A lot of people have tenseness in the neck, and although you really can't get the ball onto the neck, these muscles from the neck roll down into the top of the shoulders. So you might feel like if somebody just put their fingers down here, you'd be like, oh yeah, that feels like massage, that feels really good. Or you might find in the whole scapular area. Like, so if you wrap your hand around the shoulder, this whole scapular area is often very knotty and tight on people. So you're working anywhere from right behind the shoulder bone, the clavicle back here, all the way down into the scapula. So for me, I've got a lot of spots back here. Right there's one. Find it, sit on it. I also find moving the limb associated with that side of the scapula helps get underneath the muscle tissue. So again, holding until you feel a release of at least 50%, and then finding another spot. Going a little bit lower, you see one a little bit lower, and find a spot immediately. Again, it helps to turn the head in the opposite direction. So that's everything that I wanted to cover today. We started with calves, went up into the hamstrings, covered the lats and the mid to upper back, got up off the ground, worked with the ball, chest, and shoulder blade area. Explore different parts of your, explore your body with both sides. You might find that there's just one side that's always going to need more attention than the other. So always start on that side. Sometimes it helps to start on that side, do the other side, and then come back and work some more on that. You could be doing this every day. If you find that you have, you might be approaching an injury, like there's something that's consistently bothering you, whether it's something that's bothering you when you're sleeping or something that's bothering you at your desk. A lot of times if you cover these areas a couple times, like every day for 2 weeks, it helps you get through and brings the body back into balance so that those pains go away. And then you can just go into a maintenance program. So that's hopefully will help you get started with using your foam roller. Again, you could explore different parts of the body. I just gave you those few to get started with. And the main thing is don't roll on a joint. So don't roll on your knees, don't roll on your ankles. I don't suggest rolling the low back. You can sit on the low back. You can just kind of like have the foam roller from the middle of the back to here, like this way, and just lie on it and relax in that manner. But some people, if you have a really tight low back, it can cause, you can have a little bit of a spasm from that. And I think that covers everything for today. Feel free to drop me a line if you have any questions.